Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Akin back on the scene giving you my Week 12 recap of the college football season. I first and foremost would like to say, okay, I was wrong about my upset pick of the week. I thought that Appalachian State could beat the Florida Gators, but Florida ended up trouncing them 48 to 10. Dang. Okay, I was wrong, and I admit to that. All right. But the real upset pick of the week was Texas A&M over Nebraska 9 to 6, due to the efforts of running back Cyrus Gray, who rushed for over 100 yards and received for over 50. He had a great game. He did not score a touchdown, but he helped the team get to great field goal range to get their 9 points. Now on defense, they ended up hobbling Taylor Martinez, Nebraska's quarterback. He could do nothing. He had no rhythm, no productivity. He was banged up all game. Now, for the Big 12 North the Big 12 North Division winner will all be determined next week. If Nebraska ends up winning their game, they will represent the North. But if they lose and Missouri wins their game, Missouri will represent the Big 12 North. But we will find out next week. Now, for the Big 12 South, Oklahoma ended up beating Baylor 53 to 24. Their game against Oklahoma State will determine the Big 12 South Division winner. So we still have a week left, and we will see what happens. In the Big East, Pitt ended up beating South Florida 17 to 10, and West Virginia beat Louisville 17 to 10 as well. Their backyard brawl next week will determine the Big East winner and their BCS bowl bid. Whoever wins that game will represent the Big East in the BCS bowls. In the Big Ten, we have a three-way tie between Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Ohio State. They all have 3 losses within conference play. Now, Wisconsin ended up rolling past Michigan 48 to 28 due to the running back efforts from James White and Monte Ball. They rushed for over 100 yards and had a couple of scores each. Great game. But I would like to point out that Michigan quarterback set a couple of records in college football. He set the record for most rushing yards in the season by a quarterback, and also he is the first quarterback in college football history to rush for over 1,500 yards and pass for 2,000. Good job for him. Alright, that's a great accomplishment. But they ended up getting spanked by the Badgers. Now, Ohio State had a nail-biter against Iowa. They ended up winning 20 to 17. As for Michigan State, they ended up rallying back, spoiling Purdue's chances to upset them. They ended up beating Purdue 35 to 31. Kirk Cousins ended up rallying the team back in the fourth quarter and helped get a big score. Good game for them. Now, with this three-way tie, it all depends on the BCS rankings and what the BCS voters think. Now, Michigan State and Ohio State will not play each other this season, so it's hard to determine who's better. But Wisconsin beat Ohio State earlier this season. So, I think that Wisconsin should get the bid over Michigan State and Ohio State, and I think that they will represent the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl. But we still have a week left for college football, and we will see. And the ACC, we have a little bit of a situation in the Atlantic Division. Now, Maryland lost their chances this week after their loss to Florida 30 to 16. If they had won this game and beat NC State next week, they would have represented the Atlantic Division, but lost their chances after their loss. The Atlantic Division champion will be determined next week between Maryland and NC State. If NC State wins, they will represent the Atlantic Division in the championship game. But if they lose, Florida State will represent them. Now, in the Coastal Division, Virginia Tech has a clear shot for the ACC championship. They ended up beating Miami 31 to 17. So, after this win, they remain undefeated in the ACC, and they're just gonna go. They're just waiting on their opponent between Florida State or NC State. But it all determines on next week's game. And the SEC, there was a couple of great matchups. There was a big-time shootout between Mississippi and LSU. It was a seesaw battle, but where both teams were going back and forth. LSU ended up winning 43 to 36, but Mississippi had a great game. It was a great game, and it was worth seeing. So I had to point that out. Another good matchup was the double overtime thriller between Arkansas and Mississippi State. Arkansas running back Niles Davis rushed for 187 yards. He had a good game, and he helped Nebraska pull the 38-31 win. A couple of other games that I pointed out on my last week's blog was the game between Utah and San Diego State. I mentioned that San Diego State is a great team, and Utah will have to make a run for their money. Utah is ranked 23rd in the nation, and they proved why that they were ranked. They ended up pulling their season back together. They ended up winning 38-34 due to the efforts of their quarterback Wynn, who had a career-high game. It looks like Utah is getting everything back together. After having 2 consecutive losses, they're starting to bounce back and starting to win games and showing why they're a great team. Another key matchup that I called last week was Stanford against Cal. They ended up crushing them 48-14. Dang, all because of a little luck. Andrew Luck, that is. He had a great game rushing and throwing the ball. So, with this win, Stanford is now 10-1. They could get an at-large bid for the BCS game, because it looks like Oregon's gonna win the Pac-10 championship, but Stanford still has a shot to make it to the BCS. They are within the top 10, and I think they're gonna get an at-large bid. But like I said, we still have 1 week left of college football, and we will find out next week. Thank you for watching today's blog. My name's Akin. Be easy.